This is a tale of wisdom, passed down through the ages, echoing through the corridors of time. It is a story of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, whose words and deeds continue to inspire us today. The winter wind howled through the marble columns of the imperial palace, carrying whispers of unrest from the streets of Rome. Inside his private chamber, Emperor Marcus Aurelius sat alone by candlelight, his weathered hands holding a simple leather-bound journal. Despite being the most powerful man in the known world, he wrote not of conquests or glory, but of the eternal struggle within. Why do I resist these simple truths? A servant's angry glance ruined my morning peace. Have I learned nothing? As he wrote, his mind drifted to the lesson his old teacher Rusticus had taught him years ago, before the weight of empire rested upon his shoulders. Young Marcus, Rusticus had said, watching a leaf float down the Tiber, that leaf does not fight the river's current, yet it reaches its destination all the same. The memory brought a slight smile to his face. Now, decades later, he understood. The leaf's journey was like life itself. To resist what comes naturally only brings suffering. A commotion outside interrupted his thoughts. His advisor burst in, face flushed with panic. "Emperor! The plague spreads in the eastern provinces. The people riot for bread. And now word comes that the Germanic tribes gather at our borders." Marcus watched the man's anxiety with detachment, remembering another of life's lessons. Instead of immediately reacting, he closed his eyes and breathed deeply. When he opened them again, his voice was calm but firm. "Tell me, can our worry change the path of the plague? Can fear feed the hungry? Can anxiety alone stop the barbarians? No, but then let us focus on what we can control. Our response, our actions, our duty." Marcus stood, walking to the window that overlooked the eternal city. "Gather the council. We will face these challenges as we have faced all others, with reason, not fear." Later that night, after hours of strategic planning, Marcus returned to his journal. His chambers were cold now, the candle burning low, but his mind was clear. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months. The plague ravaged the empire, taking rich and poor alike. Marcus lost 2 sons to the disease, yet each morning he rose to face his duties. In his journal he wrestled not just with grief, but with understanding. Marcus Aurelius. A farmer doesn't curse the rain, he prepares for it. A sailor doesn't rage at the wind, he adjusts his sails. Death is not an evil, it is part of nature's pattern. To fear it is to fear life itself. My boys, they were like borrowed books that I must now return to the library. The pain I feel is the price of having loved them so deeply. When his most trusted general betrayed him, declaring himself emperor in the east, the court expected rage. Instead, they found Marcus in his garden, teaching his youngest daughter about the persistence of ants rebuilding their disturbed hill. See how they work together? They don't waste time with anger or revenge. They simply do what must be done. That evening he wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." As years passed, Marcus's journal became not just a record of thoughts, but a map for future generations. He wrote of finding strength in adversity, peace in chaos, and wisdom in simplicity. Each challenge that faced the empire became a lesson in his personal philosophy. Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but which stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. When praised for his wisdom, he noted, "Pride is not wisdom. True understanding comes from knowing how little we know." In his final years, as age began to wear on his body, Marcus spent more time in reflection. One evening, watching the sun set over Rome's 7 hills, he made his last entry. "I depart this life satisfied, having lived it fully. Not because I conquered nations or ruled an empire, but because each day I tried to be a little wiser, a little kinder, a little more just." The true kingdom is not out there, he wrote, gesturing to the sprawling city below, but in here, pointing to his heart. Remember, dear soul, life is short, the past is gone, the future uncertain. We have only this moment. Use it well. Marcus died as he lived, with dignity and acceptance. His personal writings, never intended for others' eyes, became a beacon of wisdom that would guide generations through their own struggles with power, loss, duty, and the eternal question of how to live a meaningful life. His real legacy was not the empire he ruled, but the example he set, that even at the height of power, true strength lies not in controlling the world, but in mastering yourself. Each page of his journal showed that greatness comes not from our circumstances, but from how we face them. In the centuries that followed, as empires rose and fell, as plagues came and went, as humanity faced triumph and tragedy, his words continued to offer solace and guidance. A young general would find his writings during Napoleon's time, drawing strength from them during his darkest hours. A prisoner in a cold cell would remember Marcus's words about finding freedom in the mind when the body is chained. A grieving mother would find comfort in his reflections on loss and acceptance. A modern executive, overwhelmed by the digital age's constant demands, would discover peace in his teachings about focusing on what truly matters. Each reader would find something different in his words, yet all would recognize the same eternal truths. The businessman would see himself in Marcus's struggles with daily responsibilities. The artist would understand his observations about finding beauty in life's imperfections. The teacher would appreciate his humble acknowledgement that we are all students until the end. The parent would relate to his deep love and loss, his determination to teach by example rather than mere words. In times of global crisis, his words about facing adversity with dignity would resonate anew. In moments of personal triumph, his reminders about humility would ground the exuberant soul. In periods of grief, his acceptance of life's temporal nature would offer perspective. In the chaos of modern life, his emphasis on finding inner peace would show a path forward. The leather-bound journal may have crumbled to dust, but its lessons bloom eternally, like flowers breaking through concrete, reminding each generation that the human spirit remains unchanged. In busy streets and quiet rooms, in grand offices and humble homes, his wisdom whispers to those who listen. That true power lies not in ruling others, but in ruling our own hearts and minds. That happiness comes not from what life gives us, but from how we choose to see it. That each moment, however challenging, offers an opportunity to practice virtue, show kindness and grow wiser. And perhaps most importantly, his legacy teaches us that philosophy is not meant to be merely studied, but lived. Each day presents new opportunities to practice wisdom, justice, temperance and courage, not as abstract concepts, but as living principles that guide our actions. In this way, Marcus Aurelius continues to serve as a bridge between the ancient and modern worlds, reminding us that despite all our technological advances, our deepest struggles and highest aspirations remain the same. As the sun sets on our own emperors and empires, as we face our own plagues and challenges, his words continue to light the way forward, teaching us that true immortality lies not in monuments of marble and gold, but in the timeless wisdom that helps each generation face the eternal questions of how to live, how to love, and how to find meaning in the brief span of years we are given. And so his story ends, yet never truly ends, as long as there are those who seek wisdom in times of confusion, courage in moments of fear, and peace amidst life's endless storms. In each reader who opens his pages, Marcus lives again, and the philosopher emperor continues his most important role, teaching us how to be human.